Spiritual and Paranormal Experiences. Sitting in for Jen tonight for the remainder of the show will be Amanda Bezio.
Islam. The Kaaba in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, is the center of Islam. Muslims from all over the world gather to pray in unity.
Islam, the religion articulated by the Quran, a text considered by its adherents to the verbatim word of God, Allah, and the teachings and example of Muhammad, often considered by the adherents of Islam as the last prophet of God. In addition to referring to the religion itself, the word Islam means submission to God, peace, and the way, as adherents of Islam is called a Muslim.
Muslims believe that God is one and incomparable. Muslims also believe that Islam is a complete and universal version of
the primordial faith
that was revealed at many times and places before, including through the prophets Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. Muslims maintain that previous messages and revelations that have been partially changed or corrupted over time, but considered the Quran to be both unaltered and final revelation of God.
Religious concepts and practices include the 5 pillars of Islam, which are basic concepts and acts of worship and following Islamic law, which touches on virtually every aspect of life and society, encompassing everything from baking and welfare to warfare in the environment.
Most Muslims belong to one of two denominations, with 80-90% being Sunni, and 10-20% being Shia.
Shia.
About 13% of Muslims live in Indonesia, the largest Muslim country. 25% of South Asia, 20% in the Middle East, 2% in Central Asia, 4% in the remaining Southeast Asian countries, and 15% in sub-Saharan Africa.
Sizable communities are also found in China and Russia and parts of the Caribbean. Converts and immigrants communities are found in almost every part of the world, with about 1.41 to 1.57 billion Muslims, comprising about 21 to 23% of the world's population. Islam is the second largest religion and one of the fastest growing religions in the world.
Etymology and meaning. The word Islam is a verbal noun originating, which means to give up, to desert, to surrender to God. Another word derived from the same root is salam, which means peace.
Muslim, the word from an adherent of Islam, is the active, practical of the same verb of which Islam is the infinitive. Believers demonstrate submission to God by worshiping Him, following His commands, and avoiding polytheism. Yeah.
The word sometimes has distinct connotations in its various occurrences in the Quran. In some verses, there is stress on the quality of Islam in the internal conviction.
Whosoever God desires to guide, He expands His breast to Islam. Other verses connect Islam, unusually translated as religion. Today I have perfected your religion for you. I have completed my blessing upon you. I have approved Islam for your religion. Still others describe Islam as an action of returning to God, more than just a verbal affirmation of faith. The articles of faith, God. God is Islam. Allah means God in Arabic.
Islam's fundamental concept is a rigorous monotheism. God is described in chapter 112 of the Quran as, say, He is God, the one, the only, the God, the eternal, absolute. He begetteth not, nor he...
Begotten, not. Begotten means no one up before him or after him, nor is he
begotten, and there is none like unto him. 112.1-4.
Yeah, 112, 1 through 4. Muslim repudiate the Christian doctrine of the Trinity and divinity of Jesus, comparing it to polytheism, but accepts Jesus as a prophet. In Islam, God is beyond all comprehension, and Muslims are not expected to visualize God. God is described and referred to by certain names or attributes, the most common being compassionate and the merciful.
Muslims believe that the purpose of existence is to worship God. He is viewed as a personal God who states, "We are nearer to him than his jugular vein," and responds whenever a person is in need or distress, calls him. There is no intermediaries such as clergy between God and the creation that he brought into being by the sheer command, be, and it is.
Angels. Islamic view of angels. Belief in angels is fundamental to the faith of Islam. Arabic word for angels means messengers, or messenger, like its counterpart in Hebrew and Greek. According to the Quran, angels do not possess free will and worship God in total obedience. Angels' duties include communicating revelations from God, glorifying God, and recording every person's actions, and taking a person's soul at the time of death. They are also thought to be interceding on man's behalf. The Quran describes angels as messengers with wings, 2 or 3 or 4 pairs. God adds to creation as he pleases. Revelations.
Islamic holy books on the Quran. The Islamic holy books are the records which most Muslims believe that were directed by God to various prophets. Muslims believe that part of the previously revealed scriptures, Torah, and the Gospels had become distorted either in interpretation in text or both. The Quran, literally reading or recitation, is viewed by the Muslims as final revelation, the literal word of God, and is widely regarded as the finest piece of literature work in Arabic language. Muslims believe that the verses of the Quran were revealed to Muhammad
by God through the Archangel Gabriel. On many occasions between 610 and his death on June 8, 632, the Quran was reportedly written down by Muhammad's companions while he was alive. And although the prime method of transmission was oral, the Quran is divided into 114 chapters, which combined contains 6,236 verses.
Chronologically, earlier verses revealed at Mecca are primarily concerned with ethical and spiritual topics. The later verses mostly discuss social and moral issues relevant to the Muslim community. The Quran is more concerned with moral guidance than legal instruction, and is considered the source book of Islamic principles and values.
Muslim jurists consult the hadith, or the written record of the Prophet Muhammad's life, to both supplement the Quran and assist with its interpretations. When Muslims speak in the abstract about the Quran, they usually mean the scriptures as recited in Arabic rather than the printed word or any translation of it.
To Muslims, the Quran is perfect only as revealed in the original Arabic. Translations are necessarily deficient because of language differences, the fallibility of translators, and the possibility of preventing the original inspired style. Translations are therefore regarded only as commentaries on the Quran or interpretations of its meaning, not as the Quran itself.
Prophet and Prophet of Islam. Muslims identify the Prophet of Islam, Arabic, as those humans chosen by God to be his messengers. According to the Quran, the descendants of Abraham and Iram were chosen by God to bring the will of God to the people of the nations. Muslims believe that the prophets are human and not divine, though some are able to perform miracles and prove their claim. Islamic theology says that all of God's messengers preach the same message of Islam, submission to the will of God. The Quran mentions the names of numerous figures considered prophets in Islam, including Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, among others. Muslims believe that God finally sent Muhammad, seal of the prophet, to convey the divine message to the whole world, to sum up and to finalize the word of God.
Muslims emphasize the importance of Islamic law, and Muslims are encouraged to emulate Muhammad's actions in their daily lives.
Okay, this ends our discussion on our weekly topic. A few things that I do want to point out is the word God in Islam, in Islam is Allah, meaning the same God as we all worship. And there's very similar beliefs. The only thing is they don't believe that Jesus is God incarnate. They don't believe in the Trinity. But they do believe Jesus existed. They do believe he was a prophet of God, just like Muhammad was, just like Buddha was, Adam and Noah. All these names sound very familiar, as with the Torah. The Quran really does not discredit the Gospels and really does not discredit the Jewish faith in the Torah. The Torah, the Gospels, and the Quran are one and the same, just with slight variations. Instead of saying that Jesus was the Son of God or God incarnate on the earth, they're saying that he was a prophet. And that's the same thing that the Jews basically saying, is that Jesus was not the Son of God and was not God incarnate, but was also a prophet from God, and the Jews are still waiting for their Messiah to come and save them. So there are very little differences between those three major religious organizations, but for thousands of years it has caused such conflict, such death, and such agony on humans. And what is the point of the religion? The point of the religion is to bring us closer to God and to know our Creator, and I don't believe it is to fight that your religion is better than my religion, or you're wrong in your religion's interpretation and I'm right in my religion's interpretation. I think we're all created by the same Creator, and it's really sad that so many people have had to die, so many people suffer, and even to this day, it's only a few religious fanatics that really spoil a lot of... It's a few religious fanatics that spoil peace on earth and harmony for all mankind. And that's my commentary on religion in general. I'm a big supporter of all religions of the world. People have a right to believe in what they believe. Not only is it a constitutional right in this country, but I do believe it is a God-given right. That everybody is on an individual spiritual journey, and they have a right to be on that spiritual journey and worship as they please. Do you have anything to say? Anything, Dad? Well, don't speak all at once. Okay, well, I'm going to end the show by once again reminding everybody we have a new website, www.psychiccouple.com. That's psychiccouple.com. And anybody that wants to know more information about the Psychic Couple can go to our new website at the psychiccouple.com. But if you want to know anything personal about Jen and I, and we're an open book, we're not hiding anything. We live right here in Torrington, downtown Torrington, right here on 202. We're willing to talk to anybody and discuss anything. We are loving, worshiping people that believe that everybody has a right to exist and worship and say as they believe. We don't believe in violence or hatred or bigotry or anything like that. So you can go to our website, and this is our personal website. It's www.bezio.info. On that website, you are going to get to know Jennifer and I a little better. You'll also see that Jennifer and I sell Persian kittens. Jennifer and I are on eBay selling Beanie Babies and other collectibles and antiques. You'll also see my daughter Amanda and my sister Brenda's new business called Bedazzle. And that's to get to know us personally. And then you could always go to the Society for Spiritual and Paranormal Research, and that website is www.cbezio.com. What was that, Amanda?
www.cbezio.com.
Okay, what's our new website?
Bezio at
No, dot.
.info.
Yeah, that's Bezio, bezio.info. And what's the Psychic Couple's new website? It's really hard one. What is the Psychic Couple's? It's psychiccouple.com. It's really hard. The Psychic Couple's website is psychiccouple.com. What was that? Psychic Couple what?
.com.
Are you sure? And don't forget, Spiritual Paranormal Experiences. You can always find us at www.cbezio.com, and that talks about our TV show. There's our radio shows. There's all the links to Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, and everywhere else we are in the electronic, World Wide Web, Internet, Superhighway, whatever you want to call it. You can just Google us at CBEZIO and find the Psychic Couple. Until next week, this has been Spiritual and Paranormal Experiences. Thank you, Amanda, for sitting in the second half of the program with us. And coming up on Spiritual and Paranormal Experiences, in the next few weeks, we are going to be going over some... we are going to begin planning and celebrating on getting ready for our Halloween episodes for 2011. Haunted Connecticut. Now, this is not a haunting in Connecticut. We discussed that last year. This is Haunted Connecticut. This is different sites in Connecticut that are haunted. We will be having that one. We'll also be discussing in detail the Salem witch trials. And we will go back to our original Halloween stories back almost 4 years ago. We are going to have an exclusive episode on scary stories. All for our Halloween season coming up here on Spiritual and Paranormal Experiences. And then we'll get right into our holiday episodes with Jewish festivals, Kwanzaa, and we're going to talk all about my favorite man, Santa Claus. God bless. Have a nice night. Have a nice week. Talk to you next week. Bye.